Can the Denver Broncos make the playoffs? Let's talk about that. Boys, girls, and everybody in between, welcome to the video. Every single subscriber helps. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. So if you hit that subscribe button, it'll mean a lot to me. Back to the main topic, though, here. Just a little quick plug in there. Let's talk about these Denver Broncos. They are now winners of 4 straight games, which means they started 1-5. Because they are now 5-5, one game out of a playoff spot, with Pittsburgh, who doesn't have much of an offense, holding that spot right now. This is kind of a crazy world we're living in, because I don't think anybody a few weeks ago even thought the Broncos had much of a shot. I don't even know if people thought the Broncos until they beat maybe the Bills even had a shot. I don't think people thought the Broncos had a shot until they won tonight against the Vikings, which gives them 3 straight wins against quality opponents. They have beat the Chiefs, they beat the Bills, and now they've also beat the Vikings, who are all currently playoff teams, who most of which might still make the playoffs. And now just sitting, I think they're like a game and a half out because they haven't had a bye yet, but they are sitting really close of being in a playoff spot. And I don't think anybody predicted this. And if you really sit there and think about it, Russell Wilson has been having one of his most productive years, not necessarily productive, but like efficient, I guess. He's only thrown 4 interceptions to this point, which is going to possibly be a career low if he keeps it under 10, because almost every year of his career he's thrown 10 plus interceptions. He's going to have probably somewhere around 25 to 30 touchdowns, which is really solid. He might have about 3,000 yards. He's hitting about 2,000 now with a few weeks left in the season, so he might get around that 3,000-ish range, which is not bad. He's also completing the highest amount of his passes to start this year. He's kind of middle of the pack and QBR, which is whatever, doesn't matter to me too much if he's kind of mid in that category. But this Broncos team has played extremely well these last few weeks. So some of these wins are not going to be sustainable, as they beat both the Bills and the Vikings in last-second field goals, but they kind of dominated the Chiefs, who are currently the 1 seed in the West. Now, I don't think these Broncos have any chance of competing with the Chiefs and taking over the division, but they can very well slip into a playoff spot. They're 5 wins from what I think the last playoff spot will take. I think a 10-7 season will get you into that spot, and they are currently at 5-5. So if they can rattle off 5 more wins down the stretch, and I didn't look at their schedule before making this, I should have, but I didn't, because I just think they have a legit shot, and I kind of want to sit here and discuss it, because it's kind of crazy. I don't think anybody saw this coming until all of a sudden they're 500. And people are crapping on Sean Payton early on in the year, but sometimes it does take time to get these guys out of what some other bad coach has gotten them stuck into. And honestly, I think that's what he's done. He's gotten Russ out of these bad mental thought processes and the rest of the team out of these bad mental processes that Nathaniel Hackett got him into. Aaron Rodgers might hate me after saying that, but Nathaniel Hackett was easily one of the worst coaches ever. I wouldn't say the worst, because Urban Meyer still exists, but he was easily one of the worst coaches in the NFL history, and it's been proven this year. All of a sudden, Russ is playing well again. All of a sudden, their defense is playing great again. All of a sudden, the Broncos look competitive, and people are saying that trade is going to go down as one of the worst in history. It's not going to look good in the long run unless Russ brings them to the promised land and somehow wins a Super Bowl, which I don't see happening with this roster. I don't see Russ having enough in the tank to take him to another Super Bowl, but I do think it's not going to go down as worse. It's not even going to go down for the worst in the last couple of years, because Cleveland's already topped that one. And I think it's kind of a crazy thought, but I think this team can make the playoffs. I think this team is extremely competitive, a lot more than what we think they were going to be to start this year. Everybody's playing out of their mind. They played really well. Their defense actually had to come out there. They were only up by 1 point with a minute left. Josh Dobbs had 1 minute to get him in the field goal range and could barely move the ball. The defense played great. TJ Hawkinson had 2 drops thanks to Justin Simmons knocking the ball out apparently on his birthday, because the announcers kept making that comment. I only watched the last 2 minutes of that game because I didn't expect it to be that entertaining down the stretch, given the fact that it's the Broncos and the Vikings, who were 2 teams that are maybe 5 weeks ago, we were 100% not talking about either team being in a playoff spot. And heck, even maybe 2 weeks ago, we weren't talking about either team possibly getting into the playoffs, especially when Kirk Cousins went down, but it didn't matter. And this was actually a fantastic game, and I think the Broncos have a legit shot at making the playoffs. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. I'll see you in the next one.